you tell Bobby that keep those tapes coming. We're having a little fun sending tapes back and forth. I say you tell Bobby to send tapes. Keep the tapes coming. We're sending. Well, we got a couple on the road all the time. They pass each other, I think. Tell Liz we'd like to hear from her. At first, I think the first time, when Betty was over there, Liz was a little shy to it. I could tell that. And then I noticed the next one that she really talked right along for a long time. Well, now lately we haven't heard her. It's just Bobby. He, I think, does it late at night. He's kind of just sits down and tapes it out. See, just kind of talks to you and stuff like that. Tell her. Well, when you know people that well, you know their voice and everything. It's just like a telephone is what it is. You just can't answer questions, is all. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Tell Vern. Yeah. Tell Vern hello. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Daddy and I, we were thinking that when Liz's folks were going to take off on Friday, that tonight would be a good time to call and talk to them and wish them a nice trip. And he got some of it recorded, not all of it, but a little bit of our conversation, which was kind of fun, and I enjoyed, and I think maybe she did too, talking for a few minutes.
Hello, kids. Well, we're just sitting there reading your letter, Liz, that we got today. We just got through talking with your folks, as you can see by the tape, and I just got part of it. I thought I'd send it. It'll probably be over there about the same time they get there if we get this thing taped out and get it sent. So they can probably hear themselves again on that. Notice you said something about your trip to Berlin was off. Well, that's kind of too bad, but I'm sure that if your folks are going to be there, Liz, it would sure be nice to be there in Heidelberg when they were there. I'm sure that you are going to be happy over that, more so than just missing out going to Berlin. Bobby, Vigo, and Irma are going to leave this weekend on one of these here trips that the seed corn company sends him on, and they're going to go to Spain. That's his, he was high man, I guess, in the sales of corn in the area, and the district managers, he was one of the high ones, and they earn a trip if they sell enough corn. So they're going to go to Spain on a trip here. I think they leave they leave Friday, Sunday, I guess it is. So they may be flying over you over there sometime. See a big plane? That might be them. I notice on this tape here, I've got a ball game on there, and if I don't get this just right, well, you're going to get maybe a piece of a ball game in between the times that I shut it off and turn it on again. I got a game on there, I think, that State played here a long time ago, and it's of no count now. I pick up some of this stuff, and some of it I send, and some of it gets a little too old before I finish a tape. And what do you think of those ball games? Are you interested in me taping part of those ball games, the interesting ones? I haven't heard whether maybe you don't know the players. Maybe it doesn't mean as much as it does to us back here. But some of those good ones, I try to tape part of them and send them over. If you know the players and can follow the game, I don't know. Maybe it's all strangers on there. Maybe it doesn't mean as much as I thought it might. Melford Cleveland, he had his farm sale today. I guess no, it was a real good day here today. It was real warm. This is Tuesday night now that I'm taping this here, and I guess there was some record highs today around the area, and Milford had a real good sale. He had things that he bought a year or two ago that brought 25% more now than they give for him then when he bought them. New pieces of equipment, like a plow and like a digger and like a disc. And these tractors, 2 years old, got just what he gave for it 2 years ago, or awful close to it, not quite. So things are selling awful good. Everything's inflated. It seems like there's a scarcity of everything. The paper says tonight in the headline here, it says, you name it and we haven't got it. And that's just about true. You name it and we haven't got it. Sheldon Cotton, he took some cattle up to the Watertown farm show. He placed second and fourth, I guess, in a couple of his Black Angus purebred cattle. He was feeling pretty good. I guess he bought a bull for $1,000, just a little bull calf. So he was having his fun this week. I noticed here by your letter, Liz, that you noticed that we, when on the picture there by the clock, you say we haven't been eating, and noticed that I had lost some weight and all this and that. But you tell, or Bob had said this in here, that I had lost weight and all that. Well, you tell Bob. Of course, I know that when the last time he saw me, he had a lot of other things on his mind. But you tell him I weighed less then than I do now, and but I don't think he knew it then. I'm getting back that middle that I lost at that time. I think I weighed a little less at the time you kids were married than I do now, or when that picture was taken. I got to get back and work at it again, I guess. But I thought it was kind of funny because I think Bobby said when he was home, I talked to him about something. Well, he said he didn't really know what he was doing part of the time. It was a pretty fast trip coming home and getting married and going to court and doing all this and that in 2 or 3 days. So I understand that he didn't notice I'd lost any weight. I apologize a little bit on that first end of this tape about all the racket when I had the microphone on the telephone. That's kind of hard to do because it seems like if it makes any noise there, it sure picks it up. It's quite a little racket on that first end there, but I thought it's still worth sending because we had 4 of us or 3 of us on the telephone there, and you can understand it, although there was a little crack in here and there because the mic was making a little noise on the receiver. I guess you can hook these things up right direct to a telephone line, but I think you got to get a permit to do it. I was just reading here the other day that you got to hook them. Before you do that, you have to have a permit to hook them up. I suppose that would make them quiet and make it a lot better. I don't know whether I mentioned it on the other tape or not about what we'd gone over to State and saw the university and State play last Saturday night. We took Milford Moores with us. Of course, he's got a girl in each college, at the U, and one at the U and one at the State. He cheered half the time for one and then the other. And if it was a 1-and-1 free throw, why, he hoped that they'd miss one and make one. And we had quite a lot of fun. He was in the wrong crowd there to be for the university, though. Rena was giving him a bad time. I don't know, I might have mentioned that other tape, but I thought I'd throw it in. I just noticed here that you was playing ball and you had an overtime game, and they couldn't keep track of the fouls, so that you must have poor scorekeeper over there. This is Bonnie called here, and I just hooked this tape in here, so I got a little bit of her conversation. So from here on, it's her talking from Sioux City tonight, Tuesday night. Well, Bob Gunderson called me this morning, and Bob asked me if I had it open, and I did. So, well, we just talked to Elizabeth's folks. You know, they're going to go to Europe. You wrote that, I guess, on the letter, didn't you? You knew that. Well, we called them, and they're going to leave Friday. 15th. And, yeah, they're going to go for about 2 weeks, I guess. We got a letter from Liz today, and she was telling us about it, telling all about it, and...
Are you there? Yeah. Yep. Yep, that sounds like fun. Not for them. Yep. Yeah. Did you go to your class? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Big deal. Right. We learned how to give a bath and the whole business tonight. Not funny, Mother. Oh, I didn't. I was laughing. Jim and I don't know how to do those things. Well, you know, Jim. Jim's not. Jim's sitting across from me blowing his nose. Oh. Got a cold, huh? Yeah, he's working on his books. Oh, yeah. We have some other rather good news this evening. Oh? James is on the payroll at Graham Flying again. Really? Yeah, their chief pilot is quitting, so he's gonna, let Jim fly.
Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he was flying, just when they needed him.
Sure.
Yeah. And now he'll fly more, too. But he also gets, a little guaranteed something, which doesn't hurt. Well, I think that's good.
Does
He
that...
knows that, Jim is committed to the airlines, but it's helping him out, too, so. Yeah. Well, that was all right.
Well,
I'm happy for you. Yeah, we were kind of glad to hear that. Well, that's great. Now, that paid to take something that you didn't really want to. Yeah. The word is some crud. Right. Yeah. Right, but that'll,
does that affect his national his guard?
Well, he knows that Jim has to do his guard.
Yeah.
Figure that in, Yeah. And there's two pilots out there, and, the other guy will kind of cover for Jim. Well, that's good. Yeah. 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 It looks that way, don't it?
What, if you go up to Worthington on Friday, when are you going back?
Yeah, Sunday night.
Well, maybe we could meet Sunday.
Yeah, that would work out if that'd be okay with you.
Let's see now. As far as I know,
Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, that would be fun. We could do that. Yeah.
what time would you be leaving Worthington? About?
Well, let's see. We could plan it for when you could get there,
Well, if it's Sunday, we could be there. We could be there whenever it works in for you to be on your way home, so it don't get too late for you. Because Sunday, no reason in the world we couldn't go to Sioux Falls in the afternoon sometime, and either early evening or something like this. Meet you there.
Plan for fairly early supper then, so it doesn't get too late. Say 5 o'clock. Okay, that'd be fine. 5 o'clock. Where? That truck stop was good. Yeah, isn't it? We like that. Yeah, that's a good spot for us too, coming off from Worthington here.
That's Standard Oil.
Murray's. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It isn't that no more, but that's the one.
Yeah.
Right, we know.
Well, that's handy.
Yep. Yeah, well, that'd be good then.
That's
5 o'clock. Yeah, or, about, we won't get there. Yeah. But if we get started late, Lord, we're still coming. Yep. Yeah, well, that sounds good. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Friday, I promised Bob this morning, and of course he's called everybody else, and
Yeah, well, that's fine.
he calls me first and see if it goes, and then and Bob Rice over at Pipestone is the one that won the Friday night, so there's 3 of us that could go Friday night this morning, and then we go pick up Pern. Pern can't drive at night. We have to pick him up and have a night meeting, and then of course Delzer's in town that night anyway, and that's our board, so it works good.
Yeah, well, that'll be fine for Sunday. I wasn't even thinking of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay with Jim. Yeah, sure, that'll work out just as well.
guess that tape ran out when Bonnie was talking, and you didn't hear just the last of it. But anyway, I didn't realize it because I was on the phone there. I was just trying to keep that microphone from making so many noises. I got to figure out some way to make that a little more quiet. It was terrible there in one place, but I don't dare take it off because it might something like get more off than I want off. So I'm going to say that's good news about Jim getting back on Graham's payroll. Now that Graham is the one that he charter flights for there in Sioux City, and of course that's the job that he gave up when North Central called him. And of course North Central called him, and when he was called up there, why he was dropped off the payroll there as a steady man. And then of course he went up to North Central and took the exam and flew a little bit, and then he went on furlough on account of this energy deal. And his chances there are pretty slim for a while, although Jim will get back on North Central sometime, I feel, because of his age, and there's going to be some of them are not going to stand around waiting as long as Jim is going to wait, because Jim really wants that job. But it's nice that they're being there in Sioux City that he can apply for Graham and get on a steady payroll. I guess it was just the last tape I wrote you. I told you I kind of felt sorry for Jim because he was holding down about 3 jobs and there wasn't any of them real good or steady, and so much uncertainty about it. And of course he's just marking time trying to wait for North Central. But this is going to give him something that he really likes. It's a better understanding now too between Jim and Graham, because Graham does know that he is waiting for North Central, and Graham understands it, and of course can depend on him being there for some time, and still knows that if North Central called him, why he would go. But I don't think Jim will be moving to North Central right away. This energy deal is pretty tight here for planes, and it's going to be a while before Jim can probably get back up there on account of he's down the list a little ways. But I think he'll get there. Now, I'm going to tape a little bit of this news here. It's a little bit of this news is be interested in. I'll cut in now and then.
Would cost Hearst about $300 million. He says he will do everything he can to meet the requirements to protect his daughter's safety.
$300 million is that they had heard from this Hearst girl today, and this group that's holding her are the underprivileged people out there, our group, and this is the demand that they have made on Hirsch, which you just heard that could cost him $300 million. That is a lot of money. According to the weatherman tonight, we've had the last of our good weather. It sounds like we're going to get snow, and it's going to get much colder. It was really too nice today. It was really warm, but I see weather forecast that it's going to really get cold. It's going to have another cold spell before spring. It's still February, but it's been a good winter. I had a tragedy up here at Lake Preston yesterday. This, I think it's Ron Nessheim. He's 20 years old. He's married to one of Larry Carbon's daughters. They feed a lot of cattle out there east of Lake Preston. This is not connected with the Carbon feedlot, but this is one of his own. He's a young fellow. He's got a lot of cattle there. His dad kind of backs him on the finances of it, but he's sure a nice boy. But he was loading silage out of a bunker, and I guess this silage is in a bunker, a real big, wide bunker, and I guess it's built up about 20 feet high. And I guess there was a ledge or something that his tractor couldn't reach, to get it down. And I don't know, for some reason or other, but he was trapped under that. It fell off and broke, and it smothered him. And he was alone at the time. And no one was there because this feedlot is quite a little ways from where he lives. It's probably a good quarter of a mile or so, and they live in a trailer house. And his brother come home from school and couldn't find him, and actually just tractor was sitting turned around, and the load was loaded and looked like everything was all done, but he wasn't there, and they found him in this pile. Of course, it was this hot silage, I suppose, fell down and it smothered him. But he's 20 years old, he's married, has a little child, I don't know, about a year old, I guess. He had the, I think that's about what it is. But it's quite a shock for that community. I would imagine what happened is that they have a payloader, if you remember, like Frederickson had, only it's a bigger one, and I suppose he had that dug out in the bottom quite a little, and there was quite a ledge hanging over, and for some reason he was under there, and I don't know why. Maybe he's trying to get it to break off or something, but it was bigger than maybe he thought or something. But he was buried under it, and of course something that's as high as 20 feet high, you see, that loader would only reach, I suppose, about around 12 or 10 or 12, and there'd be quite a ledge up there. But it was a sad thing. This energy crisis, or as far as your truckers' strike here in the States, it sounds as though that everybody's going back to work with the truckers in South Dakota. They just heard about it a little late, so they got to hold out a little longer. But they had a meeting yesterday in Sioux Falls, and they said they weren't going back, but they're drifting back, and they're going to be going. We're starting to move again. We're hauling livestock last Thursday, Friday, and we went in last night, Monday night, went in tonight, Tuesday night. There doesn't seem to be any disturbances around now, but it was not very well organized. They have no organization as far as an independent truckers association. They just get together and drink coffee and decide they don't want to work, and one group kind of goes one way and one group goes another, and they're divided now. At first they were together, but now they're divided. So I don't know. I think we'll get back to normal here. Morales killed 4 day of hogs today, first time in 2 weeks, and they plan to do the same tomorrow. And I think they're on the go now. So this thing could get better. Well, how many tape we got left here? I got to be careful. Just a little bit shadow on it here. I can't hardly see in there what there is left. It takes quite a little while to fill one tape here in one night. Even if I talk to across the country and get everybody on the telephone, it just kind of run out of things to say. I think about them, but when I driving down the road, but I forget about them when I get back home. But we're listening to Johnny Carson. I got a kind of a wild guy singing there now. You can probably hear it in the background. It's pretty much of a rock and roll deal, I guess. And the bang bang. Maybe you remember a fellow on radio by the name of Joe Pine. He used to be kind of a controversial commentator, and he always had interviews with people and kind of argued along with them. Well, he's on television now right after Johnny Carson. Of course, that comes on at 12 o'clock. It's a little late, but it's quite interesting, and he's quite a personality. He has quite a way of getting people to talk, and we listen to him some nights. Get kind of sleepy, but once in a while he has some real good talent on there. People that you have heard and know, and explain different things. I don't know, we just got listening to it some. The only thing is, it gets a little late. I just played this back, and I could hear that cuckoo clock out in the kitchen. Now we're sitting in here with the television low. Can't hear too much on the television. So you can hear that, I guess. But anyway, you can sure hear that cuckoo clock out there, can't you? I think I told you that Glenn was down in Arizona. He's coming back last week. But this Pickering is running the station over here. And I see today Kit was back down there. They don't have any business. They're really having a hard time keeping that thing going. Really hasn't got too good a help over there. Of course, these filling stations are all in trouble. They only have gas for about about 22 or 3 days of every month, and then they're out. And WAP was out the other day. They had trouble. We couldn't get all the heating oil we needed for the school. We had to call up here, get some things straightened out there. Got 1,600 gallons, I guess, a special deal of some kind. But Glenn's going to get back. I suppose he'll get over there and shake the sack a little bit. You know how that goes. I have to kind of laugh. Lauren gives this Marco that works for him, lives out of my north house out there on the Earn place. He works for Lauren, and Lauren gave him a little pig last summer. This pig weighs about 200 pounds, I suppose, now. And he's a pet pig, just about like that one on television that's supposed to do the talking. You've seen him on the place. Maybe you haven't seen him over there, but I think you remember from when you were here. But anyway, he sleeps with a dog and sleeps up there south of the house. He doesn't get out on the road. They never tie him up. I guess they tell him not to go out on the road, and he don't. It's kind of a funny thing. We drive by there about every day. Pig lays out there in the sun south of the house today. I had to laugh. It's kind of a funny thing. Guess I shouldn't say tie him up, because I meant to put him in the pen, but it seems like he's so much just like a dog. When you talk about describing how to hold him, you'd think of tying him up like you would a dog, because he just sleeps around there with the dogs. It's quite a thing. Well, Liz, I'm sure glad that your folks are going over to see you. It'll sure be nice. We'll have a lot to talk about. I'm sure they'll have a lot to see. And it's a good time of the year for your dad to go. And it's going to be like being home. Hi again. This is Friday night. This is the day that Liz, your folks, left. And I'm just hoping that this here tape maybe catch up with them by the time they get there, but I don't think it will. I meant to get this off. Now I'm going to put a little sports on there. That's tonight, being it's Friday night, and I don't know, this thing is getting somewhere near the end here, but in case this thing runs out, why, we want to wish you folks a happy trip, and hope they get to see a lot of that country over there. And keep the tapes coming, Bob, and we'll see you. I'm just going to let this go out now, and we are going to meet Bonnie and Jim in Sioux Falls for dinner Sunday. They're going to Withington on Saturday, and then they're going to come back through Sioux Falls, and Jim's going back to Sioux City, and we just talked to Bonnie, and we're going to eat dinner with them Sunday. After church, we'll just get down there. We'll get down there about 1 o'clock. So we'll see Jim and Bonnie then. And again, I'll turn this thing back here to a little sports and let the thing run out. We'll be seeing you.
Parker Guys over Canastota, 78-34. No trouble there for the number 1 rated Class B team in the state. Worthington won rather handily. Sully Butte split by Fulton by 3. A couple of rated teams there. Andy Central beat Scotland 67-56. Desmet over Howard. Dakota Christian beat Queen.
I guess there wasn't too much sports to put on there. There wasn't very much on there. In fact, I was a little bit late getting on there to get some of it. But anyway, the Jackrabbits lost tonight down at Northern Iowa. They lost in North Central ratings. Why, Northern Iowa is 0-8. State is 3-6, or 3-5 before tonight. And so this was the only win that Northern Iowa's had this year. I don't know, the states really have their problems. They dropped a lot of 1- and 2-pointers now. This is 5 games in a row that they've lost. And they go to Mankato tomorrow night, and the odds are that they will get beat over there, because Mankato beat them over here at state. And they've got a lot better team than Northern Iowa has. In fact, they're rated about 500. They'll win about half of them, lose half of them. So, I don't know. I guess the Rabbits aren't running this year like they should be. We'll go over to Brookings tonight with some books. And, of course, I had to come back. I had a bank meeting at 7 o'clock, and I didn't have much time over there, but picked up a little stuff. The weather report really sounds good tonight. Sounds like it's going to be about 46 to 50 tomorrow, and the sun's going to shine. It's going to be just like spring. We really had nice weather. It's been an open winter, and we have hardly any snow. Maybe not enough. Maybe it looks a little bit on the dry side. I don't know. The winter wheat and dry fields are kind of out there in the open. Maybe it'd be better if they were covered up.